So it looks like we've got a bad wheel bearing on this '03 Montana van of my wife's. So I've done these jobs many times. Unfortunately, this one seems to just be giving us a problem because this wheel bearing was only changed about 2 months ago. It was purchased under warranty from one of my previous employers, and I've already exchanged it under warranty, I think 5 times now. So I think I might just be going with something else this time, but at least this time we got the winter tires on because it's cold here in Canada today. It is freaking cold, about -17 this morning with before wind chill. These are our basic tools that we're going to need for this job. We got some PB Blaster. I just sprayed on the axle nut there just to keep it from getting too hot. 13 mil, 15 mil sockets just to get the brakes off on the 15. 13 is what you're going to need on the back side of the wheel bearing to take it out of the hub. Now, since I just did this one, I know it's been anti-seized and everything, so it should come out nice and easy. 34 mil socket to go on this axle nut in the middle here. An impact gun. I think that size is actually 33 mil, but most axle nut sockets come in 30, 32, 34. You can get 33s out there if you find some of the specialty ones, but that's what I've got. So, and it works fine for us. So we'll, first thing I'd like to do before I jack up the vehicle, take that axle nut off first, just makes it easier and doesn't put so much strain on the transmission when you're trying to take it off later. So we'll do that first. See if I can do it one-handed while holding the camera. And I forgot to spray it. So how about we do that first? Yeah, it looks like it might be a PB Blaster. And of course. Be right back. So I didn't have any PB Blaster, but I found some seafoam spray that will work in a pinch here. It's not just to give it some lubrication so it doesn't get so hot and slides off a little bit easier. That's off. So we're going to jack up the van and take the wheel off. So just so everybody can see this, I haven't loosened up the wheel nuts or anything yet. I don't know if you can see that, but that wheel bearing is only 2 months old. I won't say where it came from, but yeah, I'm not happy because I got to do the job again. All right, we'll take those nuts off and we'll 19 mil or 3/4 inch socket, of course. Take that off and then we'll get the brakes off, and I'll show you how to take that hub off of there. Now we got the wheel off now. This is what you're going to see. Like I said, we already took that axle nut off of there, so in the middle there, so that's already done. Next, we got to take off just the caliper mounting bolts where it mounts on the knuckle. We don't need to take off these ones. We just want to take off the ones in the back here. There's 2 of them, one on top, one on bottom. 15 mil, like I said. And then just going to set the caliper aside. Make sure you do it safely so it's not hanging on that brake hose up there. You don't want to overextend that one. And in this case, that brake hose and that caliper are only a few months old as well. So I don't want to ruin those things. We've got the caliper, brakes, pads off there, rotor. Next we need to undo this ABS harness here. Let's see that. Unclips here. And that clip there. Push that down. Undo that wire. So you just got that. We got to undo that clip. Oh, it came off of there already, but that clip, like I said, this was one that was just done a couple months ago, so it's not the original equipment. Yours might look slightly different. They use both steel and plastic clips on these ones, depending on which version you have. Most of the new ones will come with both options in the box, and you just got to swap that clip there so you can attach it. Make sure when you do take the sub-assembly off that you put this bracket, runs all the way around here behind the hub, and make sure you put that back on in the right place. Otherwise you won't be able to attach this clip and it could get stuck in your CV shaft when it's spinning back here. So you want to make sure you get that in there right. Next we got to get these bolts right here out. And like you said, mine was just done a little while ago, so I know these should come out fairly easily. I put anti-seize and stuff on them then because these are very common wheel bearing. Like you can see, this one is not that old. It's not all rusted up and everything. But if you do, make sure you put some penetrating fluid or something around here on the bolts. Let it soak in for a little bit. Hopefully it comes out. I have stripped the bolts in the back, the heads of these before on some of these GM vehicles, and then it becomes a problem with getting the torch out and trying to torch these things out of there. But usually these are very, very easy job to do. It only takes less than an hour if everything goes smoothly. And yeah, so we'll get this, let's see if I can show you a shot of the nuts from the backside here yet, and we'll get those taken out. So I'm not sure if you can see that, but there's a nut right in above the CV shaft back here. One down over here, and another one down over on this side. Sorry, I keep calling them nuts. They're actually bolts. So first thing, we always start with the top one here. My experience, just what works best for me. Get that with an extension in there. Try not to put too much pressure on that CV joint. You obviously don't want to wreck that in the process, but usually I find this this works pretty decent. And you can usually, with a 6-inch extension, 13 mil socket, you can usually get them out fairly easily that way. Just if I can get them out to one-handed. If not, I might have to put the camera down for a little bit here. Let's see, this is what I want to try to turn here. Yeah, worked it okay. Disrupt that one. On to the next one, down in behind here. There we go. Now you can kind of put it on the control arm. Make sure you're not pinching your ABS wire down the control arm here. See if I can smash my knuckles. That was not going to go as easily. So, we got a little persuasion bar here. Again, I'm trying to do this one-handed. Again, and not pinch that wire. There it goes. Just enough to get it started. And we'll see if I can get the other side started in the same way. This one, it's a little bit more of a pain because you got the sway bar links, tie rod, and everything in the way on this side, and you're going up instead of down. So I don't know if I'm gonna be able to do this one-handed. Go underneath, maybe. Yeah. Gonna have to switch extension on that one. That's not gonna work that way. So I've got all the bolts taken out of this hub. You can see it's already coming off because, like I said, it was changed before, so it came out fairly easily. Sometimes these get seized up in there and you gotta fight with them. Should have mentioned before, make sure your CV shaft, you can push it through. You can see it moving back there. But sometimes you gotta get that unseized as well. I've had these completely seized up before, and luckily I had a parts van where I was able to steal the whole CV shaft knuckle and everything from it in the process. So it all depends. When these bearings get bad, they can get real hot and basically weld themselves to the shaft, and you're stuck doing a whole knuckle job or trying to get it out some other way. But regardless, like I said, this one here is fairly easy. It's already loose. Only thing is I don't think I can do it with one hand and get that wire to pull back through there without getting stuck. So give me 1 second, I'll be right back. So that's just what you're gonna get. Like I said, when I put it together, put ACs and everything on just to make sure it would come apart again, because unfortunately these are quite common. Like I said, this one's a couple months old and I can't believe how bad it is already. So I'll be taking that for warranty and asking them for a different brand or something, because I'm sick of changing these garbage hub assemblies. I won't say where it is or whose it's from, but this one was supposed to have a 15-year warranty when I bought it. This is, like I said, my 5th or 6th one so far, and this one lasted less than the other ones. Usually they were doing about 6 months. This one literally did 2. I put it in November. It is now January. They've always been torqued properly, 118 foot-pounds. I don't put them on with an impact gun. All that kind of stuff that every mechanic in my life has said, oh, you're wrecking them because you're over-torquing them. I've used other brands, done the exact same procedure, and they've lasted for years. So, yeah, I'm not sure why. So here's our old hub. Here's the new one. I just want to mention before I put this all back together, make sure you get your ABS wire here. Comes through on this one. You got to try to get it in past the CV shaft. I just got it kind of hanging on the edge there now, but make sure you get that triangular portion so this bolt lines up with your top one. Make sure it's on your left side in this case, and that it goes to the proper side. Otherwise, you won't be able to reattach your clip onto this bracket and this wiring harness to the ABS, and you get an ABS code. So that's another common sign that you need a new wheel bearing, because on these ones the ABS sensor is built into the hub assembly. So these are again common for that. In this case, I didn't have an ABS sensor issue, I just noisy wheel bearing. And our lovely snow tires in Canada do make a lot of noise, so sometimes it's hard to tell what it is, but yeah, this is just getting gradually worse and worse and worse. So basically now we're at the point where you just put it back together. So we're going to line up our bolts, tighten them up. Then once we get that on there, put your brakes back on. I always like to put the axle nut socket back on here after the wheel is on, and then torque it up to 118 foot-pounds. Make sure that's an important part to make sure that these wheel bearings last as long as possible. People like to over torque them. Some GM cars need like 150, some are different. Make sure you got the right specs for your car. It all depends on there. And if you don't torque it properly, you will damage the bearing inside here and it'll fail prematurely. Like I said, I know these ones were done properly before, and that's what makes me upset that these things are not lasting longer. Because like I said, I've done other ones, other brands, and they have no problem. So I will get this thing put back together and we'll go from there. So we got the bolts all back through there. You can see all three sticking out there. Got our ABS hooked back up and clipped onto the bracket here. Again, like I said before, don't forget to put that bracket back on. Been there, done that. You got to take it all back apart again, or use zip ties, whatever. It's just better to put it on this way. Make sure you get it in there right. Got the axle nut started on here. I have not tightened that up yet. As I said, I will do that after I get the wheel on there, just so it doesn't put extra strain on the CV shaft and transmission when I'm trying to torque that up. And now basically we just got to put the caliper rotor back on, put the wheel on, and torque that axle nut, and Bob's your uncle. Like I said, I know there's probably a million other videos out there on YouTube on how to do these things. I honestly haven't even looked. I've been doing these hub assemblies on these GM vehicles before YouTube was even a thing, so I just figured I'd throw my hat in the mix. So if you like it, let me know. If you don't, let me know too. And you know, if you find it helpful, let me know that as well. Thanks guys. I'll come back and show you the torque sequence there, and then that's pretty much it. So we got the wheel back on. We just got to torque up that axle nut in the middle. Now, just to come back to what I did say before about the wiggling, I noticed as I was putting it back on, looks like we got a bad inner tie rod on this thing. So down in there, and it looks like I got some sway bar bushings that are going to need to be addressed as well. But you know, I might have to do another video on doing an inner tie rod next by the looks of it, and maybe a sway bar and bushings and whatnot. Well, I will let you know on that one. So that wiggle, I can't completely say was the wheel bearing anymore, but she was still definitely noisy as hell. So, but next thing we got to do is torque up this axle nut there. Down there. We don't want to use a impact gun on this thing. We want to see if I can do this one-handed. Torque this down. Might take a little while. All right, we finally got her close to tight. So I said, got that thing set. I don't know if you can see that. Just before 120 on the foot-pound scale here. 118 foot-pounds. That's all these need. Just there. Just gonna try to roll frontwards a little bit on me. Hear the click. There, she's getting tight. And there's a click. That's all she needs. No more, no less. And that should help your wheel bearings last. Give them the best chance they got anyways. Like I said, hopefully this one does better than the last few I've done. like I said, thanks for watching, guys. Make sure you torque up your wheel nuts after that. You know, you don't want a wheel falling off because you forgot to torque them. Seen it happen. And like I said before, appreciate it watching. If you like it, let me know. If you don't, or if you got any comments, let me know. Have a good one, guys. Bye.